Hey fam, welcome back to Hold True Apologetics, where we seek answers to tough questions. The question today is hell real? Is hell real? Now we're going to be dealing with this topic in the next few weeks because a lot that goes into this topic, but today we're simply looking at what does Jesus state about hell? What does Jesus state about hell? Now, if you come across somebody or someone says to you that Jesus doesn't say anything about hell or Jesus doesn't have any belief on hell, that person hasn't read the New Testament and specifically hasn't really read what Jesus states, because Jesus does state a lot about hell. In fact, a quote by Leslie Smuckers said this: Jesus talks about hell more than he talks about heaven and describes it more vividly. There's no denying that Jesus knew, believed, and warned against the absolute reality of hell. So this is very clear. We're going to point out a few things today that Jesus knew, believed, and taught about hell. He believed it was a very, very real place. So that leads to our first point. I'm going to point out 4 things that Jesus teaches and believes about hell today. And first one I'm going to point out, which I just mentioned, is he believes and teaches that it is a very real place. That it's a very real place. This is not some imaginary place, but a very real place. Matthew 25:46, Jesus states this: "Then they will go away to eternal punishment, but the righteous to eternal life." Jesus is describing here 2 very real places. That one goes after they die, after they face judgment. One will either go to heaven or eternal life, or one will either go to hell or eternal death, or eternal punishment. He's not describing some imaginary place, but a very real place that people go. In fact, you can see other passages, many other passages. Jesus gives more descriptions. You got Mark 9:43 through 48. You got Matthew 13 verse 42. You got Matthew 25 verse 30. Matthew 10 verse 28. These are just some passages. But in these passages, Jesus goes into detail more and describes this place that he refers to as hell as a very real place. It's not some made up fantasy fairy tale place, but a very real place. So that's the first thing. He sees it as a very real place. The second is that he states and believes that it is eternal. That it is eternal. Now, some people might state and have argued that hell's not eternal. They state maybe it's a place for temporary punishment. You're there for a short time and you receive your punishment, but then you're either annihilated or you're brought up to heaven in some sort of way. Now that goes against what I would see what the New Testament teaches, what the Bible teaches as a whole, and specifically what Jesus teaches. In the passage I just read in Matthew 25:46, it states again, I'll read it one more time for you guys. It says this again: "Then they will go away to eternal punishment, but the righteous to eternal life." Again, this is Jesus comparing 2 places. He's paralleling 2 places. The place of eternal life is paralleled with the place of eternal death or eternal punishment. This is a clear passage, I think, that's discussing and describing these 2 very real eternal places. Eternal life, eternal death, heaven, hell. Jesus is clearly describing these as eternal. And even the terms that are used throughout the New Testament are terms describing everlasting and eternal when it's describing a place like hell. That goes into my third point. So we see that it's eternal, and that goes to my third point, that it's permanent. The hell is permanent. And you got this parable that Jesus gives in Luke 16, where he gives this parable of this rich man and Lazarus. They both die, and they both end up going, one to eternal life, one going to eternal punishment. Now, I'm not telling you to take everything that's described as literal, but Jesus is describing something that we can see a picture of some things about the afterlife, all right? And one specifically is that eternal death or eternal punishment is permanent. All right, it's not something you could now cross over to the other side, or it's not something that you're gonna pay a certain amount and then you go. No, it's permanent and eternal. It's permanent and eternal. And the passages outside of this describe it in many different ways. You got this unquenchable fire, or everlasting, or eternal fire, the fires of hell, or eternal punishment, everlasting destruction. These are all terms that are used to describe hell, and they're all terms of eternal and permanent. And you have that in the book of Hebrews, talks about when we only live once and then we face judgment, and when we are judged, we will then go to eternal life or eternal punishment. It's not a temporary or permanent place. for both. Those that put their trust in Jesus is a permanent place, eternal life. And it goes in the fourth thing I want to note that Jesus describes about hell, and it's that it is a separation from God. It's a horrible place, and it's separation from God. He states the worms do not die there. The fire is unquenchable. Now you could debate on if those are literal or not, but what I'm stating here, Jesus is clearly describing a place that is not good. He's describing a place that is torment and punishment and forever and separated from God. Now, so we're back to the question in the beginning, is hell real? Well, according to Jesus, yes it is. According to Jesus and the New Testament authors, hell is a very real place. Is it eternal? According to Jesus, yes it is. It is eternal, it is permanent, and it is everlasting. Now, that doesn't answer every question we have to deal with. That's what we're going to look at these next few weeks. Next few weeks, we're going to look at questions like, hey, how can a loving God send people to hell? Or is eternal punishment fair? But just for now, this week, we have to set the scene and to see biblically clearly that both heaven and hell are very real, eternal places. All right, I hope you guys have a good week, and we'll dig more into this heated topic next week. Hey, if you found this video helpful or challenging, I want to encourage you, like, subscribe, and share this video to anybody and everybody you know.